You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Intro music. Woo!
Hello, everybody, and welcome back again to another episode of the Patient Players Podcast. I am your host, Daniel, and I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, Jordan. How are you doing, Jordan?
Hello, once? Hello, one and all. Hello, once and all.
Hello, once and for all.
Hello, once. Just this once. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. In case I don't see you.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I'm glad you clarified that part.
Yep.
I was worried for a second.
Yep. Just straight ripping the catchphrase of Truman from the Truman Show.
Is that where that's from? Why did I feel like that was from The Sound of Music? I've seen The Truman Show.
Sound of Music. Oh, in case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Good night.
I think I was mixing all that whole thing. I was mixing up. I love The Truman Show, dude.
I know some people who have not seen The Truman Show, and I don't know if I want to show it to them or not, just because it really like messes with your brain when you do see it.
I feel like it messes with your brain more if you see it as a kid.
That's interesting.
I feel like kids have the thought about, like, what if the world's all about me all the time?
Well, I mean, that is true to every kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. This is a video game podcast. You're listening to episode 43. We've made it 43 episodes. We have hit, at some point in the last month, we have hit the 1 year.
Wait. I'm sorry. I got to stop you there, Daniel. This is episode 44.
Is it episode 44? I checked like 3 times.
It is. I think I also checked.
Yes. Okay. Thank you for the update. We're on episode 44.
All right. I hope you enjoyed episode 43, everyone. That was the last 15 seconds. Now we're on episode 44. Welcome.
The last episode extended all the way from last week until this moment.
Nice.
And we are now extending on into episode 44. I hope you enjoy it. It's going to last until the next recording, sometime undefined next weekend. So this is a video game podcast. You're going to hear us talk about what games we've been playing for the week. We like to game in the slow lane, which is our favorite phrase to describe our regular playing of our favorite games, coming back and picking up updates to old classics, finding good deals on games that we might have missed. We are all over the board in terms of games, but we are directly in your heart when it comes to our love.
I wasn't ready for that.
No one is. That's what makes the patient player so powerful.
It's really crowded in here. If you could let us out of your heart, please. No,
into your heart. I go into your heart directly.
Oh,
and you do too.
Yeah, we're in their hearts. Is that what you were saying?
Yes.
It's crowded in here. If they could maybe open up the channels that lead from the heart to the mind. I hear that the mind is a nice open space in a lot of people.
But keep the door shut to the soul. We do not want to go in there.
We absolutely do not.
You don't want us in there either. It was a mess last time that happened. Just trust us on that one.
That bad boy under lock and key. And also go to counseling. I'm kidding. But I mean, actually not. Counseling is nice.
Yeah. I mean, have you heard the screams from there? It's
screams.
That's why we say keep the door shut.
Oh my.
The way this podcast is going to work, we're going to talk about the games we played for the week. Then we're going to call out any cool deals that we might have found for you, or any of the subscription services that we notice have good freebies, that kind of thing. And then we'll finish up with the question and answer section, where we're going to answer the emails that you've sent in to us, as well as any questions sent in through the podcast Discord, official Discord, or through the Twitch live chat. We are live streaming the recording of this podcast like we do every weekend. So if you're catching this podcast after the fact and you want to join us next time and ask some questions or hang out in the chat, you can find that link, as well as links to the Discord, links to all of our social media accounts over at patientplayers.com/social.
That's right.
Let's get into the podcast, man.
Let's
I
do
want to
it.
know what you've been up to. I feel like I've talked with you infrequently this week.
It has been pretty infrequent. You know what, Daniel? I had a dream this week that I wanted to tell you about.
Okay.
But it's not very long, but it kind of shows what's going on in my mind. It won't be a big surprise.
Oh no. Okay.
So I want you to imagine a vast sea in front of you.
Uh-huh. I'm closing my eyes for this.
Okay, good. Yeah, there's a vast, beautiful sea with sparkly sunshine, glistening off the rivers.
That's beautiful.
And in the distance, it's not like a huge flock of birds. It's a big flock of like large flying creatures.
Okay.
And they're flying
like griffins. What are we talking about?
Griffin, just big winged creatures. I couldn't tell. It was too hazy.
Okay.
But they're flying away, and I don't know what they were. And this is where the dream ends.
Uh-huh.
So with that beautiful vista in front of you, now the words Bloodborne 2 show up.
Wait, that actually happened?
Yes. I had a dream of a teaser trailer.
So it was like a trailer. It wasn't like, okay, so the first, when you said that, the first thing I thought of was like a dream where you're not watching a trailer. You're like actually at this beach and there's this field in front of you.
Uh-huh.
And just the concept of Bloodborne 2 was in front of you and it was paradise.
Yeah,
and
no, I was not there. It was me just picturing like just the river and like on a cliffside, and then it like faded in. It showed a bee and then it faded in Bloodborne 2. And I woke up like, did I really just have a dream of a Bloodborne 2 trailer?
Besides like the water and the beach, this sounds a lot like the Fable trailer they showed off for Microsoft, where it was like a cutesy little creature flying, and then it was like, oh, the bullfrog, and then it like just faded out onto like this big beautiful title. Is that kind of what you're talking about, but for Bloodborne?
I suppose so. Oh, you failed to mention the part where the frog eats the fairy too.
That's true.
Which was really disturbing.
I feel like that one didn't fit with yours as well.
You could see like her hands like sticking out of the frog's mouth, and he like sucks it in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like a humanoid creature that frog just ate. Yikes.
I mean, what do you think happened to the fairy when you bottle them up in Zelda and you let them go? Like they're consumed, right? They have no magical power left. They turn to dust.
Link just crunch, just shoves it in his mouth, and they're like, ah. I hope not. Good night.
I don't take credit for this because someone else mentioned it and I just read it, but I did see that apparently the bullfrog in the Fable trailer is a reference to the original developer of Fable, which was Bullfrog Studios.
Oh, that's cool.
I had forgotten about, but that's why the bullfrog is there and it eats the fairies apparently.
I've never played any Fable games. I had a lot of friends that did, but never personally. Have you?
I have not.
Okay.
I played Fable. I never had an Xbox. Did they ever come into PS3?
I don't think they did. I think that's probably why.
Yeah, I never had an Xbox. I still have never had an Xbox console. So,
well, look at you.
Speaking of not having an Xbox console, last week we talked a bunch about Game Pass and how awesome it was because they had that Microsoft game. What did they call it? Not like reveal.
Just
press event.
Yeah, press event. That's good.
But and we talked about how it was crazy that there wasn't anything out of there that knocked it out of the park. We're like, oh, we have to have this. But the idea that it was all just available on Game Pass. And then we went on Game Pass when we talked about our deals in the middle of the podcast. We found like a bunch of really great games, including that one that Kay had written in about with a review, Crosscode. So I think we both
Crosscode. We both downloaded Crosscode, didn't we?
Yeah. So we both signed up for Game Pass again. And so you're talking about not having those consoles. Well, I'm not even worried anymore because even if they do make a new Fable, at the end of the day, like I can try it out with Game Pass. It's been a super wonderful thing, but I had turned it off for a few months. I have a lot to talk about this week with Game Pass though, because I played 2 Game Pass games for a very long time.
Oh, really? Man, how cool is it though, knowing that there's a new console coming out and you will not you'll have no reason to buy it at all.
Right?
That's pretty cool. Like,
yeah. Like I already spent like 3 times the cost of this console on my computer. So I'm just going to keep using that, you know?
Exactly. And get better performance out of it than the console would. Well, actually, the new ones are going to be pretty strong, but
True.
Equal performance, I'd imagine.
They'll get outpaced pretty fast, I imagine. Yeah. Well, I would like to talk about some video games. I don't know about you. Does that sound like fun?
What are you talking? Are you saying my Bloodborne 2 dream wasn't video games?
That was a dream of a trailer of a game. That wasn't a video game.
It wasn't even a trailer. It was a teaser trailer. Like, hey, we're working on this and it's coming soon.
That was a glimpse into paradise by simply mentioning the name of a game that you want.
Yeah.
That's a pretty great dream, though.
It was really short. I woke up like, oh, I liked that. That was pretty cool. I feel good.
That's your X-Men mutant powers. You just have short trailers for dreams of just like stuff that you want.
One time I had a dream where something like exploded and I woke up and I was like, that was some really good graphics. Like, holy cow, my brain knows how to do like a good explosion. I remember thinking that was so cool.
You've witnessed the special effects of an explosion too many times. Your subconscious has just assimilated it.
Yeah, it nailed it. I was like, that was a cool I remember thinking, like, even in the dream, like, whoa, what a cool explosion. Yep.
So I have my normal schedule interrupted this week. My Monday and Tuesday evening activities were interrupted. So I just had completely free hours after work on Monday and Tuesday.
Oh, that's
so I was
nice.
like, I'll sit down and play some video games. You know, I did this podcast over the weekend. I'm interested in trying out some of these Game Pass games. So I downloaded Carrion, which we talked about last week. This is the reverse horror style game where you play like a giant flesh monster and you're terrorizing some sort of space station.
I think you played that after last week's podcast, right? Like immediately afterwards? Or was it the day after?
I want to say it was the Monday.
Okay.
I think it was the day after because I believe we were actually recorded pretty late. So I sat down and I played that game and then I didn't stop. And then I beat the entire game.
Okay. So it's short. Or did you play a long time?
I can check on Game Pass. I think it was like 5 or 6 hours.
Oh, that's really long. That's pretty good for because it's $20, I think, if you just bought it, right?
I think so, yeah. Well, on top of that, I also spent maybe like an hour of that because I was hanging out in Discord talking with people. So I was actually chatting while I was playing. So there was a good chunk where I got lost. I didn't know where to go next. I was just going around the map in circles. So I could have done it a little bit faster, but generally that whole time I was playing and I found it fun. And I mean, I'll talk more about that game, but just the idea of like dropping $5 on Game Pass and playing all the way through that game, I feel really good for me. I feel really bad for the game developer because I'm sitting here like, it's not like Carrion got $5 from me, right? They didn't even get that. I don't know what they got.
Well, yeah, you don't know what their payment, their payment strategies are for Game Pass and like how long a game is booted up for, or if it's downloaded. I'm really curious actually how they pay out people.
Yeah. I think when the Game Pass first started coming out, there were some questions, and some of the developers were saying a little bit, but it's different per person, I'm sure. And yeah, it's just so weird to think like I have no desire to play Carrion again, right? Like there are secrets I might have missed or something, but that to me the experience was sit down, play it, and be done. It's almost like having a Netflix subscription where like I watch something, I'm like, oh cool, I have now watched this. I'm done watching this. I have now played Carrion. I'm done playing Carrion. There's no more Carrion in my future in the short term. I have no desire to buy it. I uninstalled it. I literally installed it, played the whole thing in like 5 or 6 hours and uninstalled it, and I'm done. And I still have a month worth of Game Pass.
Good deal.
It was a good deal. I turned around and did the same thing the next day.
Oh, like the whole install, beat, and uninstall?
Well, I did not complete this game, but I did install and play about 6 to 7 hours of Forager. And then...
Oh, very nice.
And then I got off that one. So this is a game that we mentioned a few weeks ago that I thought you might really like. We watched like on the pre-stream for the recording, we watched the trailer together, and it's pixel graphics, top down, kind of like Stardew with an item bar where you're walking around and interacting with objects, getting rocks and sticks and stuff and building a farm. But it's not just farming. It's so hard to explain. It's like you have these islands and then there are materials that appear there and you do stuff like mining and farming and crafting. But then as you do those things, your character levels up and you can branch out into different areas, right? So if you really want to go into the farming, there's like a whole skill tree for that. If you really want to get into fighting monsters, there's a skill tree. There's a skill tree for just like making money and buying bigger plots of land. There's a skill tree for like magically crafting new items that are potions and spells. And then there's one that's just like build factories and oil drills. Like everything you can think of is in this game in some direction. And you popped in a little bit. You saw me playing a few minutes of it, right?
I did. In the little time that you showed me of it, like I was sold. It looked almost too good that I didn't want to download it on Game Pass because I also got a month of Game Pass. So I put it on my Switch wish list because I feel like the Switch is a good barrier to playing it. If that makes sense.
As in like you don't want to jump in on it right now, so it kind of forces you to wait.
Exactly. Or like, I'll be on my computer like working or something and I'll be playing a game. It just, there's less of I want to play Forager here when I could play Forager, when I'm like out of the house or something, if that makes sense. Like it's a good game to have like out and about because it looked like a mindless game running around grabbing stuff at some point.
Yes, let me give you some hot opinions on both Carrion and Forager now that I have played multiple hours of each. I would say people, if you want to play Carrion, it's great. I loved it. I love playing through the whole thing. It was way more of a puzzle game than I expected. Like most of the gameplay was solving puzzles using the abilities the monster had. There's not so much like a horror theme of like trying to scare the enemies or something. Like basically if you get into a room with an enemy, you just flail all your tentacles at them and you rip them to shreds, which feels awesome. And that's very much like a horror movie experience. It was cool. But past the first like hour of the game, there's not a whole much more to that aspect of it. It's way more like, oh, okay, when my monster is this size, it has this ability. And when it's this size, it has this ability. So I need to find a way to shrink or grow in order to overcome this puzzle. It's
That
very
makes
much
sense.
puzzle based.
Were you thinking it would be like a combat based kind of
I
thing?
don't know what I was thinking. I was thinking that they would do a lot more of like Batman Arkham or like Shadow of Mordor style, where like the playing with your enemies, like the fear aspect of being a monster would play into it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's very little of it. Like you can kind of manipulate where the enemies are by like growling at certain walls and stuff, but that's a very small part of it. Very fun still. I still really, really liked it. Forager, you are correct in your assessment from what you said. It's very frenetic is the word I would use. You're running
good
around,
word.
chopping resources. And the thing is that like the resources respawn constantly. So you're never done. Your brain can literally for hours on end just like jump from thing to thing and get the little feedback loop of the items and the experience points and the dings that this is done being crafted and the dings that this is done being crafted. And it's so high energy. It honestly left me exhausted. And I don't know if I want to play more.
Oh wow! Like so, you only played that one night that you first downloaded it?
I tried playing it the next night, and after like 20 minutes, I was like, I am out of steam. Like,
holy moly!
I wasn't out of stuff to do. I just didn't care about it. Like, it's like as soon as you took me off that drip, as soon as you cut me off from and I feel like this is partially my fault. I feel like maybe if I hadn't binged it for like 6 hours, that maybe I would appreciate it a little bit more. But I feel like there's so much going on, and I realized that in other games that have this kind of like resource gathering and management, like a Stardew or a Minecraft or Terraria or something, that generally the worlds are procedurally generated in a way that they just kind of go on for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And with this, one of the major parts of the game is that you only have this tiny plot of land and you have to make do with it and like get resources from it. And then it's a big step to buy a new piece of land and possibly get some new like arena or object from that new piece of land. And so each one gets more and more expensive and it's a really big deal to buy one. And so like you really quickly run out of stuff to do in terms of exploring. And then at that point, it's just like harvesting stuff. So
almost like a grindy experience to get to new content.
Kind of, but like every time I wanted a new island, I had more than enough money to get it.
Okay.
It has so much stuff in it. I think that's what made it difficult for me, is because I was simultaneously wanting to learn everything I was unlocking at once, right? Like learn how to best do the factory production and learn how to best do the magical potions and learn how to farm and learn how to fight things and get weapons and stuff. And there was so much available at any one point. It was a little overwhelming. And maybe if I go back to it and just took it slower, I would like it more. But I have moved on from Forager at this point after that like 1 or 2 night binge.
Wow, dang, that's crazy.
I might open it back up. I am interested in a lot of the other Game Pass games. Like I installed Crosscode, like we said, so I'm interested to try that out on Kay's recommendation.
Yeah, well, careful on getting into that one, because if you get into it, that one, I don't know if he's beaten it yet, but he got so far into it, like many hours.
The way I understand it, that one's more like a RPG with a story and like you play through that game. So I feel like that one I'd be more apt to, take breaks and save every once in a while and like play through it like a real video game, not like a dopamine binge.
That makes sense.
How about you? What have you been playing?
I beat Paper Mario this week.
Ooh.
I did. I beat it on Friday. I think it took me a total of 25 hours, which is it's pretty good.
Better than Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah. Yeah, final review. It's objectively, it is a good game.
Good.
Yeah, good games have flaws with but with that in mind, it's a good game. Which makes me very happy that like the story was also really cute and really really heart-wrenching at some times.
Aw. They got you in the feels sometimes.
They did get me in the feels. And
every time... Oh, I didn't realize. So go ahead.
The ending was a little awkward. And I was streaming it, and Keaton was watching, and he's like, wait, what? And we were both like, wait, what? But
okay.
Not to give any spoilers because it's still relatively new.
Huh.
So... Yeah, no, still, it's like objectively, I say that like, objectively, it is a good game, and I'm glad I played all of it.
Yeah, okay. Every time I hear you talk about it, it's generally good things with here's like 2 big frustrations.
Right, yeah.
But it seems like you loved playing through it.
Yeah, it's frustrations definitely, but the good things definitely outweighed them, which it made me happy. Unlike I couldn't get through Paper Jam on the 3DS.
Oh, really?
Just, oh my goodness. Or the paint one. What's the Color Splash? I couldn't get through that either.
The first one in that format was Sticker Star, right?
Yes, I actually beat Sticker Star when it came out, and I was like, that was fun.
Okay, I have that one. I was going to mention this week. I have been playing that older DS game, Lost Magic, right? Mm-hmm. So I had like my bucket of all my old handheld games just out. I just started going through it. I was like, what other gems do I have in here? I had all of my old DS models. I realized like, I don't need all of these. That was just one thought I had. I'll come back to it at some point, I'm sure. But then I found my Action Replay DS, Action Replay DSi. Have you ever played with those things?
Yeah, I had one too because you showed it to me and it blew my freaking mind.
It's so cool. You could do like code injections between the cartridge and the game. Like that's amazing.
That's so cool. I wonder, I guess it wouldn't make, or it probably sounds difficult to do it on a Switch with also a cartridge-based insertion.
I looked it up, and yeah, like modern systems are too complicated with their operating systems. I think what it was is that older operating systems were simpler, and so like part of the game actually had direct access to the hardware through the operating system. Whereas like nowadays, it's more like a computer where the programs that are running are all contained by the operating system. So you don't have as much direct access to what you need.
Gotcha. That's a bummer. But I mean, probably for the best because there's already so many hacked games out there and people, doing hacky things with them.
Dude, the Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS, that shooter, the Action Replay 100% worked on Wi-Fi if you had the right codes.
What does that mean?
As in, like, the cheats that gave you, like, infinite ammo, infinite health, let you no-clip and fly through walls and everything. All of those just worked on the online matches.
Oh, I think you mentioned that last week, actually.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I would play, like, with my friends locally, but they also would work on Wi-Fi. I didn't, like, go out there and use it a whole ton.
Oh, like on a public server that they hosted, that the game hosted.
Oh no, it was like client to client. It was like go find a match. It was like matchmaking.
Okay,
You'd
okay.
like pick up your DS and be like, I want to play Metroid Prime Hunters, and you'd match with someone, and then I would like fly around the level. I don't think I did that more than once. I didn't like regularly go out there and cheat
Wow.
against people.
You
But
could have been banned. Straight banned from Metroid, what was it, Prime Hunters?
you think that Nintendo had a like moderating system built around Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS?
There's no way. There's
If
no
they
way.
came out with a Switch game today that was Metroid Prime, I would be surprised if it had a moderating system. And this is like 15 years ago.
You know, you mentioned that, but that's a funny point. Animal Crossing got an update this week, which I was going to talk about this anyway. It added the save backup feature, so we can finally back up our freaking islands. But also, it added a new Dream Suite feature from the 3DS one, where you could upload a copy of your island for people to visit, but they couldn't take any items, they couldn't leave any items. It was just looking at an island, just be like,
They did that on the 3DS, right? The Dream Islands?
Yeah, I just said that. So it's just for looking at islands and checking them out. But this week, I saw an article saying that people's islands were starting to be taken down from their service because they had hacked in items on their island and they were showing them off. So, you know, in mentioning the Metroid Prime Hunters, if you said if they had like a Switch one, they probably wouldn't care, but they care enough to actually take down people's islands for having like a hacked tree that instead of fruit, it grows stars, and you don't even get to keep them. This is just for looking at the island and being like, that looks nice.
Ridiculous to me. Like the idea that this has literally no effect. And on top of that, it's not even like this is a game that Nintendo is monetizing after the fact. Right. It's not even like these people they're not ruining the experience for anyone competitively, because, you know, competitive Animal Crossing, right?
Competitive Animal Crossing.
I want you to tell me what competitive Animal Crossing looks like.
I would say like a percent speed run. You know, how fast can you pay off your house? I've seen them have the GameCube one, and I mean, obviously you had to time skip, but it's fun to watch people know exactly where to go.
Huh. Okay, that's fair. So you're not affecting anyone else in that way, and it's not even like there's a game economy you're breaking because they can't get the items or take them away, right? There's no reason. There's no reason other than, like, I guess if you worked really hard for something and someone else cheated it in, it might feel like it cheapens it for you. But the people I know that are purists wouldn't feel cheapened by seeing a hacked item.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I would think, oh, that's cool. You know, I'm not going to do that, but it makes a cool effect on the island. And that's the only reason why you upload it to the service in the first place. It's to show people, look what I made.
Yeah. It's like a Mario Maker level, but it doesn't kill you as much.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Yeah. So that's crazy. I mean, what are you going to do? But the save backup, oh my word. So glad that finally came out. And
does it have some Nintendo stank turd in it somewhere?
Oh, of course it does. So as you recall, I lent? Lent
is the right word.
I belly button lent my Switch Lite to a friend about 4 months ago, not knowing that her Animal Crossing island would be hard burned into my Switch Lite at the time and wouldn't be transferable. So I actually got it back yesterday. Because she used the feature to upload her island. To download it, though, you have to call Nintendo customer support. And they have to walk you through the whole process of getting your serial numbers for both Switches and approving the download of the data to the new device.
Does Animal Crossing contain nuclear launch code?
I don't know, dude. Like, I'm just happy it worked. The process must have taken at least like a half hour, maybe 40 minutes.
I have had less security around actual money transfers.
Yeah.
There was less double checking when I bought my house.
Yeah, it was crazy. And like the lady was like going through all the steps, like, okay, now you need to talk to Tom Nook, tell him to upload it, close it, you know, make sure the new Switch is set to primary console, then I can enable it. And she was like, oh, I see your save right here. Like they have like a on their screen, they can see that your save was uploaded and they have to click approve download to the new serial number device.
Oh my goodness. So I've worked in a call center, and I'm just imagining like some poor like retired teacher. She's like 55, got back into the workplace. She's sitting at Nintendo and she's like, no, not the Nooklings. Tom Nook. Talk to Tom Nook. Like, this is incredible.
She at one point she was like, when starting up on the new device, she was like, when you start up the game, you need to hold down the minus button. When it's on a new island, and that makes it search for a save data. But she's like, now if you see Timmy and Tommy, then it didn't work and we're going to have to restart. But just hearing her say the words, if you see Timmy and Tommy, and
this was better than I could have possibly imagined.
Yeah, and Samuel, who was the guy setting it up, was like, at one point he was like talking to the lady, and he's like, look, Tom Nook told me that I had my data, uploaded. And he's like referring to Tom. He's like, Tom Nook is a trustworthy guy. Like, he told me it's there, so it should be there. And then
obviously,
apparently my Switch Lite, because it's the Pokemon edition. Mm-hmm. Apparently it has a special serial code, like the first 3 digits. So she was like, what's the serial code? And he's telling her, and she's like, no, it should start with these 3 things. And he's like staring at the Switch. She's like, but he has to pretend that it was lost, because you can't say I'm transferring it. This has to be for lost or broken devices.
They don't let you just transfer?
Yep. That feature is still coming later. They announced at a later date you'll be able to just move it over to a new Switch. So that's not even out yet. So they had to call and be like, yeah, we lost our old Switch, but we wrote down the serial number. So he's reading out the serial number, and she's like, no, that's wrong. And he's looking at it, and he's like, it's what we have written down. I don't know what to tell you. And she typed it in. I'm
literally speechless.
And it worked. It was such a long process. I'm just so glad that it worked. I didn't think there's a million Nintendo stink turds that could have gone wrong. Look, maybe it didn't transfer right, or it bricks the old Switch, like, because it's lost or something. But no, it moved over, and they were happy to have their file moved over.
Jordan, I don't know how to tell you this, but you just admitted to a Nintendo felony on air. Your entire account has to be banned now.
That's why I'm not. They don't know who I am, though. It's not my account; it's my friend's account. So as long as they don't know who that is, can you imagine the calls as soon as this feature came out? Just their call rates. Suddenly, everyone lost their Switch. Wow, what are the odds of that? Because if you claim your Switch is broken, you have to send it in, and they'll do it for you. So if you want to move your data between 2 Switches, you need to say, I lost one.
Look. It was broken, and I was walking to the post office, and some guy mugged me and took it. Now it's lost.
Yeah, it's like, it's broken. Okay, send it in. Oh, I already threw it away. Shoot. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
There you go.
This is incredible.
It's a saga that I'm glad is over. And it also is nice knowing that my save data is actually also backed up now. So that's a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, I guess peace of mind at last that you can get your island back if something happens.
And all this is for what? For what? So you can't duplicate what? Furniture? Or tickets?
Who
cares?
There are games out there like EVE Online, right? Like that game people put hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars into, and the items actually have value. And like people, if you could duplicate items in that game easily, you could actually break an economy and like ruin the game for people and ruin the game for the developer and take away money. Literally none of that applies here. Not a single one of those applies here. You can't ruin the game. You could do whatever you want to that game. I'm speechless. I can't talk about this anymore. I can't. Yeah. I don't have any more commentary. It's all stupid. That's my commentary.
It's pretty crazy, but it's over.
Oh my gosh.
Let's just put Animal Crossing in the vault and then just burn the vault. Just burn it from the outside.
Wow. Back to a simpler time. Along my dig through the handhelds, I didn't just pull out an action replay, but I grabbed my Game Boy Advance SP the little guy.
Of course, you had an SP. You're totally that guy who had the SP. I can see it now.
Oh, I'm so curious now. What?
Just growing up, anytime I would see someone with an SP, they were like, it was like the creme de la creme. Like, ooh, their Game Boy. It's literally just a Game Boy with a backlight instead of the advance, right? That's the only difference. And it folds.
And the clamshell.
And the clamshell. Yeah. Ooh.
And the rechargeable battery.
Oh, okay. That's pretty big. Yeah. Whew. Yeah. I only had the advance.
So you had like an envious, like, snooty rich kid persona of everyone that had an SP?
Absolutely. And I have like 3 cousins. They all had one. And I was, over here with my AA batteries in my Game Boy with the light, like I can't see
the worm light.
Yeah, the worm light. Like, I can't see my game because it's dark.
Wow, this is hilarious. I've never even considered that there's like this elitism to the Game Boy Advance SP.
Yeah, that's how I view people. Because I assume you had an Advance also, right?
Oh yeah, I still have both of them.
Yeah, see that? Yep.
Well, so I didn't have an SP. I just had the Advance, and then I had like a friend who had one, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool. So he actually let me borrow it for like 2 weeks one time, and then I saw my parents. It was I had some really nice friends that were way too nice to me.
Dang,
like, I couldn't really taken advantage of them as a kid.
Should have.
I'm glad I didn't, but I did get my own SP later. And to me, I have like I have the complete opposite mindset of the SP. It's not like this elitist tool for the rich and powerful. It's like, it's the last, like, no Wi-Fi. It didn't even have a sleep mode. It didn't have an operating system. It was just a Game Boy, but it had like some of the modern like design and lighting and stuff like that, and the rechargeable. It was like that perfect in between that was like smart enough to be usable anywhere and rechargeable, but like simple enough and homely enough that you're just playing Game Boy games and that's all you're doing. Doesn't even go to sleep when you fold it. I just have a very different idea of the Game Boy Advance.
Doesn't even go to sleep when you fold it? Are you serious?
Yeah, you can like turn off the backlight, but the game is still running when you fold it.
Wow, that's crazy.
It's just a plastic hinge. There's no sensors or anything.
I guess that makes sense. I guess you need an operating system to implement a standby mode of a game.
Yeah. To like suspend a program. Huh. Absolutely.
Crazy.
So I booted up some Advance Wars 2 on there, and I just played some Advance Wars, and oh my goodness, that screen is so small. When was the last time you looked at a Game Boy?
I don't know. I honestly don't even know. I don't even know where my Game Boy Advance is from like my childhood days.
Because like, if you haven't played a Game Boy since you were a small child, you are not small anymore. And the Game Boy still is. And it feels so small. I have no idea how I ever played games on that thing. It's
interesting.
So tiny.
Is it the same size of the screen on the DS, like the lower one, or the upper one, I guess?
I don't know, but also the original DS had tiny screens. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm used to the gradual, like the XL and then the 3DS XL, and like I'm used to them have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, but like going all the way back to where it started, I'm like, this thing is so small.
That's crazy. It's funny you mentioned DS games and Game Boy games again. I woke up with a song in my head this morning.
Okay.
It's a song. You probably don't recognize the name, but it's a song called Young Love Rock and Roll.
Okay, I do not recognize the name.
Okay. It's sung by it's sung by One Little Froggy. Does that ring any bells?
No.
And he has 4 backup dancers.
Oh, is this from Rhythm Heaven?
Yes. I woke up with a freaking Rhythm Heaven song stuck in my head, and it's been in my head all day, to the point of where I was driving to an event earlier today to hang out with some people that I loaded the song up on YouTube, and I was like jamming out because it's one of the ones in Rhythm Heaven that has full lyrics too, sung by a little froggy, and you're making your other froggies dance,
right,
in tune to the beat and do a little spin. But just with that being stuck in my head all day, like I guarantee you, at some point this week, I will find my DS and I will put Rhythm Heaven in it, and I'll play some Rhythm Heaven mini games.
Did you ever get the 3DS collection one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should just play that. Can you play that online?
Does it have multiplayer?
It has local multiplayer, absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it has DS download play. I actually played a bunch with Marion before we were married when we were still dating. We
That's
went on like a road trip
awesome.
with her family, and Marion had a DS and I had a DS, and I brought my old 3DS, not the new 3DS, but the old fat one, and I brought it so that her sister could play, and all three of us were in the car just playing Rhythm Heaven. And
That's
then
amazing.
her mom gave her sister the aux cord, so we were playing it through the car stereo.
Yo,
It was so fun.
man, that's I've never played multiplayer on the DS. I played multiplayer on the Wii one. Did you know there was a Wii Rhythm Heaven?
I knew there was one. I don't know what it's like though. It's like WarioWare, right?
It's good. It's like they need to make, if they put this on Switch, instant buy for me, just like the Ultimate Collection, because I think like the original songwriter for the games died, so I think that's why they stopped making them, or it's been a long time. So if they just make a recollection of all the games and put it on Switch, oh, I would love that. And then I have this dream of them putting it on mobile devices. But of course, the mobile market isn't really like, buy a full-fledged game. It would be some subscription service or in-app purchases.
Not enough people bought Mario Run to get Nintendo to jump onto that bandwagon,
exactly.
man.
So that's why it's just a dream of having the full collection of Rhythm Heaven on a touchscreen device, because that would be so perfect. And it's such a good game.
You can put that dream right next to my dream of a Lost Magic 2.
Is that the one you talked about last week on the DS?
Yeah, the
sad.
Magical Rune RTS Pokemon Ubisoft DS classic.
That is sad. Rip Dead Dreams.
So do you have anything else that you've played this week?
Those are the main ones. Like, just name a few small ones. I played some StarCraft 2. Because that got a huge 10-year anniversary update.
Yes. We played some StarCraft 2.
We did. Oh yeah, you and I did. Yeah, I played some with you. I played some with Kyle. Kyle finally asked the question. He finally popped the question, Daniel. He said, "Hey, I want to play some StarCraft 2." And I was like, "Yes, I do, Kyle." It was like right after he woke up at noon on Saturday.
I feel like you're just kind of putting out Kyle's life here in front of the world.
I mean, see, I say that because y'all played D&D like real late on Friday night.
Yes,
so
we did.
That's why he was able to play StarCraft 2 with me Saturday morning, and I was like, "Yes, thank you, D&D, for going so long and late last night." It was a good moment.
We had planned an extra long session on purpose, so we played for like 5 hours.
Yeah. So, yeah, StarCraft 2 with you, with Kyle, all of the co-op people in that game got some prestige abilities where you can reset them from max level back to level 1, and you can level them up again, and they get like huge game-changing abilities that aren't necessarily better.
They're all side grade stuff, right?
There's definitely side grades. Like Kyle and I went through them and we're like, that seems bad. A lot of them seem bad, but I like,
you just play it a certain way, I guess.
Yeah, like I trust the developers to know that they're all like actually balanced and make sense. But to like me and Kyle were like, these all seem really bad. But a few of them are good, and that was fun. So yeah, StarCraft 2, Hearthstone expansion is coming out this Thursday. Looking forward to that.
This is the one you pre-ordered already?
Yes, and usually the weekend before it comes out, they let you open your packs and play with other people at like a local event. Oh. So I set up a local event at my house and then opened all my packs, and that was fun. Yeah.
Wait, I'm confused.
What?
So did you like... is there like a way to submit to Blizzard like I'm having an event? Yes,
it's called a fireside gathering. For the longest time, you had to have like a minimum of a few people show up for it to count. But in the last few years, they started being a lot more lenient with it, where it's like you can just set it up at your house and people can join, and you can like choose which mini game will be available to everyone. And it's a really cool thing. And I've always wanted to set up like a real official one that like actual people could go to. But that's not definitely happening these days.
Right.
So
makes sense.
Yeah, open my cards. I also played some HOTS today. I played a what's it called? The placement ranking match.
Like Storm League?
Yeah, I played a Storm League rank today, and that was fun. That's been my week.
How did you like? Because we normally don't do the drafting. We normally do it through quick play, right?
Yeah.
How did you like the whole process? Are you starting? I am definitely leaning hard into the draft. I have been burned way too many times by bad team compositions that I'm actually happy to do the draft now.
See, and this is really cool. This is just a really cool aspect of how you and I are so different.
Uh-huh.
I like quick play because it's it's very little information. You choose who you're playing as and their build. That's it. It seems to me, this is just my assumption, that you like drafting because it requires a vast amount of knowledge and sifting through all of that to find like the best team combinations in conjunction with what's been banned, in conjunction with what they've chosen. That's too much information for me. Holy smokums. Like when I'm in a draft by myself, I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to pick. I don't know who my team's going to pick. I see they pick, and I'm like, I still want to play this person that I wanted to pick, but that could be bad depending on what they did.
Right.
Like it's an absolute information overload. And like as I was sitting there, I was like, I need someone like Daniel here to be like talking through all his thoughts. Like, oh, they picked an Artenis. That means you should get doodly doo because he has just like stuff you're just pulling out of thin air. And I'm like, I just can't do that. I just need little nuggets of information to be like, just like a little mouse chewing on some cheese, like nim 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 nim. And you're like a rat sitting in a throne made of like gourmet feta cheese or something. You're just like nom nom nom. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Storm League.
Okay, I would say that you're close, but you have it the wrong direction.
Okay.
That I don't enjoy and want all the information and like the strategy and all that. It's that I dislike the opposite. I dislike that it's like, I want to play this hero. Oh, well, the game decided to put me on a map where this hero doesn't matter. And then it decided to put me against a team that I can't do anything against. And so for the next 25 minutes of my life, I just get to be useless. Like, I hate that so much that if you give me the information, it's not that I want that information, but I can avoid that situation. I can say, you know what? I was going to play the Lost Vikings, but we're on a 2-lane map and they have like a Butcher and a Valera. I'm not going to play the Lost Vikings. So
you should just do unranked. I've been saying you should just do unranked. Like if you don't want to do ranking, unless you do, I assume you have been playing ranking this week. But like I would totally do unranking with you sometime because that's just basically like best of both worlds where there's no actual pressure and it's fun, but you can still strategize and all that stuff that you like doing.
So I will tell you, I have actually played about 6 matches of unranked this weekend.
Oh, no way.
Yes, and a couple of ranked as well.
Wait, why? What made you want to do unranked?
So the reason for this is because I was playing games in participation with a team tryout.
Oh.
I have signed up for an amateur HOTS league called Heroes Lounge. They are the North American HOTS Lounge League is halfway through their season. And so I don't have a team. I'm a free agent. And so I was looking for a team, and there was a team that needed a substitute player for one of their matches. And they were like, well, actually our tank he's like getting surgery or something. So we need a new tank player. Do you want to just try out to be a tank?
What?
And I was like, sure. And so we like coordinated schedules and all this stuff. And last night, and then again this evening, just before we recorded, I actually played a bunch of tryout unranked matches with these guys, this team that plays together. And they have like matches they do every week or two, and they have practices like 3 times a week and everything. And it was me and like a few other people that all wanted to try out with the team.
That's amazing.
Yeah, the team name, if you're ready for it, is called Satan's Rejects.
Oh, I guess that's a good thing.
I don't know.
Right?
One of the team members, I told them about the podcast, so they may have tuned in at some point, but it definitely takes some getting used to when one of the team members, I forget the full name of his tag, but it's Satan. I think it might be Satan's Reject or something like that, but everyone just calls him Satan. And so we'll just be playing.
Oh no.
Well, because like you got to communicate quickly when you're trying to call stuff out in the chat. So everyone's like, Satan, can you handle that?
Yeah, I think people call you Snuggly.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah, and they call me just Jaw.
Yeah, exactly. So I really wanted to do this. I wanted to find a competitive scene that was not just ranked, because I thought it'd be cool to have team members that all coordinated together. And I've never had that experience before. I wanted to try it out. And it's been super fun. It's been weird though, because me, I don't usually play tank. That's like not my strong suit.
You say that, but I remember we played like I think this week, and you were like, "I'm a tank. I'm gonna do some tanking. Oh, I'm gonna practice my tanking. I'm such a good tanking."
Why do you think I was practicing tank?
Oh, you didn't want to. Oh, you want to save it for the podcast? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was offended there for a second, but I quickly got unoffended, if you will.
That's why I was practicing tank, was because I knew that someone was going to want me to fill tank.
Wow,
for
interesting.
This team. But yeah, and so like I've discovered that I'm really good with Blaze, and also I've discovered Blaze is amazing with the most recent patch.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure you'll hear me talk about Heroes of the Storm more than usual over the next few weeks, as I am probably going to be participating with this team. And it's been weird. I don't know for sure. I actually, because we just got off the tryouts, they were trying out a few other players before the podcast. So I still need to go back and like talk with them and figure stuff out if I'm going to join the team officially. But it was a super cool experience. One, I didn't realize unranked. In my head, it was like, who would ever play unranked? If you want to go through the draft, you would just play ranked. But you're right. Apparently unranked is more popular than I realized. So when I'm just playing on my own, I might be doing that more frequently, because it gives me control of the draft. But
that's a great middle ground for us playing, because if I want to, I can just say screw this. I'm just gonna pick who I want to play.
We got to build around it, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. So too bad,
Well, another thing is when you play with the draft, you don't have to play specific heroes for the quests.
Oh, even in unranked?
I don't know about unranked.
Okay.
But definitely in ranked you don't.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I feel about the whole experience yet. I still got to sit down and talk with them about it. And
so cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. And like they stream all the matches for this league. Like you don't even have to be in a high division, but like you can request a game streamed. And there are casters that come in, and sometimes casters will just want to practice, so they'll like ask to cast games and stuff. And I think this team is in one of the lower divisions for North America. There's way more variety in Europe because there's more players. There's only like 4 divisions for Heroes Lounge in North America, and I think they're Division 3. But as part of this process, I uploaded all my replays to Heroes Profile so that all of my stats are like fully tracked, and they can track my MMR both per role, like my tank MMR, my damage MMR. They can track my MMR for like different modes, like my quick match and ranked and unranked stuff is all tracked there. So yeah, I am neck deep in this and figuring out how it all works. It is weird though, because in my head, I was like, if anyone's interested in doing this, they're obviously going to be like super good at it, right? I'm actually the highest ranked person that I was queuing with. The only other person who was higher than me was only literally 1 rank. Like I'm gold 1. We played with 1 platinum 5 guy, and he was another guy who was trying out. But all the people who were actually on the team were like mid silver or bronze, which really surprised me, because I don't know anyone else who plays the game besides like you. And so like unfortunately, I don't know. I never met lower ranked players before, and so I didn't know what to expect. But at the end of the day, if someone's willing to play Heroes of the Storm competitive, then like they're not horrible at the game. Like if someone was truly,
were they horrible in your opinion?
Well, 1, they might be listening. No. 2, no, like there wasn't
glances around. They were great.
Where's Satan?
Where's Satan? Oh my gosh.
No, I think there was one moment where it's like, oh yeah, obviously that person was like positioned poorly, but I had the same thing as the tank. That happened to me too. Mm-hmm. And it was like when we play together, right? Like I don't expect you to be perfect, and you don't expect me to be perfect. And like
we know when we mess up. Be perfect. Diamond rank, by the way.
Hey, you have not even completed your placements this time around.
I'm hoping it puts me back in diamond. I'm going to be brokenhearted if it puts me down in platinum with all the plebs. Ugh.
Anyways, I honestly, when we did our tryouts, we had some rough games, and I had just dropped out of platinum into gold, and I'm like solidly a gold 1 now. And so earlier, before I did my tryouts, my second round of tryouts, I was like, oh, you know what? I need some rank points. I'm just going to play Tassadar. And so sure enough, I just won.
Oh my goodness. Man, I really, really hope that you get on this team. I remember how incredibly fun it was to watch when Kyle was part of his college's Overwatch team.
Mhm.
And getting to tune into that, and it's like, oh, there's Kyle, but it's just Reinhardt, on the screen, but it's like he's being controlled by Kyle. Even when I was in college, I did some Overwatch tryouts, and they were so much fun, and it felt so. I got play of the game on one of them with a Diva Bomb. That feels real good when you're playing with people who are actually like in Diamond, like all like near to low Grandmaster people, and I think I don't remember if I actually didn't make the team or not. I think I was not able to meet all their times, sadly. But I had a blast during tryouts.
That's definitely what I'm worried about. That's why I need to talk with them more, but to see if we're actually getting on. But the times generally work for me. There's like 1 or 2 practice times that might get messed up depending on some other stuff that's going on outside of gaming. But yeah, this is going to be super cool. It might affect the time we do podcast recordings because I think Sundays are some of their practice days.
That's fair.
So I've been kind of holding that back for the second half of the week because I just started looking into this like Wednesday or Thursday.
What a bombshell. A good bombshell. Like this bomb is full of like kittens and cupcakes.
Okay.
Kitten cupcakes, if you will.
I'm out of games to talk about, and we are solidly into this podcast. I think we're like approaching an hour at this point. Did you have anything else before we talk about some of the deals that you could find?
No, yeah, let's talk about some gaming in the old lane.
Oh no, you're trying to make it a thing.
It is a thing.
You can't just decide it's a thing.
It's a thing.
I already did that with
It's a thing.
I already did that with We Do Love.
We Do Love is definitely a thing. We can agree on that at least.
Definitely a thing. So we talked up Game Pass a whole bunch since we talked about it last week. They've added in the game preview, like the early access for Grounded, which is that backyard small kid in a big world survival game that they showed off at the Microsoft event. A couple other games like Yakuza Kiwami 2, which is like the remake of Yakuza 2, I think, with the new engine. Game Pass, in my opinion, still super worth it, even if it's just to play through, Carrion or Forager or all the Halos or whatever. It's got a ton of content for the PC, at least $5, and then for consoles you can do like the double pack where you get both for $15. I think when we signed up for Minecraft Dungeons a few weeks ago, if you remember that, Marion did the $1 entry, but that's for the Ultimate Edition, and she forgot to unsubscribe, so she paid like $15 for the Ultimate.
There goes 3 months. That could have been 3 months of Xbox Game Pass. That's crazy.
Or just buying Minecraft Dungeons.
Oh yeah, that too. Huh? Yeah, fair enough.
So that is what's going on Game Pass, and then for the Epic Games this week, they're giving away a spanking 3 games all at once.
Ooh, spank those 3 games.
Okay.
Because they've been naughty?
Oh, okay. Do you want to tell me about these naughty games, Jordan?
No, it just Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery. That's one of the free games. I know
that is one of the free games.
Your waifu, your real life waifu, the one you're married to. She's a big fan of this game. If that's correct.
She keeps telling me she has a hilarious story to tell me about this game. So I hope that at the point where we get to our emails and questions, I think we have a story submission from one fine wife of the podcast, Marion.
Okay, yeah, that'd be cool. And then alongside that, there's a game called 20XX, which is like a roguelike action platformer. It's
Mega Man.
You realize that, right? It's off-brand Mega Man.
It's not even off-brand Mega Man. The opening scene is going up a skyscraper of the trailer, and like it's just Mega Man but a girl, and it's just Mega Man.
Okay, there you go. Get it's just Mega Man on Epic Games.
Apparently, it is a roguelike multiplayer Mega Man, though.
Okay, that's cool. A spiritual successor, if you will, I guess.
To the mighty number 9.
No, that game does not need spiritual successors. And then last, there's a game called Barony, which is like a first-person roguelike. It honestly, the graphics make me think it looks like Doom. It's like Doom.
It's got that
original
voxel feel.
Yeah, original Doom graphics with co-op. So that's cool. Co-op games are fun.
Definitely, it's like a low low res dungeon crawler, but you can have a couple different people on it all at the same time.
That's pretty cool.
And you guys better come back next week just for a reminder in case you forget about next week's Epic Game free game. Here comes Wilmot's Warehouse.
Woo! That's this Thursday. This Thursday at 10 a.m. Get Wilmot's Warehouse for free on Epic Games.
Downloaded this fine podcast into your ear holes on the day it comes out, which is going to be Monday the 3rd. Get ready. You have a mere 4 days until you can be playing Wilmot's Warehouse for free.
I'm so happy.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be great.
I don't have the full version. I just have like that free Humble version that you got with the Humble.
No way.
Yeah, so this is going to be the first time I'm able to play the full version.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Did we discuss the PS Plus games yet?
No, we've only done Epic Games and the Microsoft Game Pass. So please.
Wonderful.
Inform me what might I receive for my monthly pound of flesh to the game companies.
What? So this month on PS Plus, you can get Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 remastered, which is a pretty solid game, and another one called Fall Guys. It looks like a battle royale platformer.
Okay.
I think 60 players, which that's yeah.
Is this like a 2D platformer, or is this like a Mario Party mini game over and over again?
That's a great question. I had never heard of Fall Guys. I think it's 3D.
Okay.
It is 3D, yes. It's like in a very toon, crazy, happy world.
So it's the Mario Party mini.
I guess so. It almost looks like they're like being filtered through like a pinball machine. Or not a pinball. What do you call a one-way pinball machine?
Oh, like a Plinko thing?
Maybe. They're sliding down a slide with obstacles, and it looks like only one person makes it to the end, supposedly.
Huh.
Or maybe a certain amount of people. It looks pretty fun.
Get a good influx of players with that free game. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. That's pretty neat. And unfortunately, Humble Bundle, I believe they're not announcing their bundle for this month until like Thursday or Friday.
Okay.
So no bundle there yet for us to pause. I mean, to consider buying.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So where does that leave us with the good old Microsoft Xbox? As if they're not handing you the farm enough with Game Pass. What are they giving away for free for the Xbox Gold users?
That's a great question. What are they giving? Looks like Portal Knights. Do you know what that is?
I don't know. Actually, I have not heard of most of these games. I had figured that putting them in the notes, you had at least seen them.
No, I didn't. But talking about this made me think, how crazy would it be if the PC Gamer Pass like actually gave you like games with gold? How insane would that be?
They would have to increase the price at least a little bit.
Oh, definitely. But like if they made like a $20 or $25 bundle of like the big fancy bundle, but with this built into it for PC, that'd be cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I looked up Portal Knights via Steam, and it has very positive reviews. And I hate how much I like the trailer for it. It actually looks pretty interesting.
Okay, well there you go. You can get that on Xbox One with games for gold, along with MX Unleashed, which sounds like a bike game. It's a bike game. Okay.
There's a lot of those on the various console subscriptions recently. There's been like a lot of rally car, a lot of racing, a lot of motorbikes.
Yep. And you can get that on 360 and Xbox One until the 15th. Portal Knights is all month, but MX Unleashed is until the 15th.
Okay. What else we got? Because they always do several that roll throughout the whole month.
Oh, I don't care. We'll talk about them later. Unless you want to talk about them now.
No, that works great for me. Those are available to you this week. And like we said, Humble Bundle, don't know yet. So that's all the deals that I've seen. There's a Epic summer sale going on. I didn't see anything in there that I was going to jump on or that I felt was super worth calling out. So we didn't put any of that in our notes.
Same. But I'm waiting for the Shark game to hit a nice, juicy discount. Man Eater, yeah. It needs
like a $15 Man Eater.
Nice, juicy discount. You know what I'm saying?
It just came out. You got to give them time. Maybe the Christmas sale if it sells really poorly.
Juicy. Yeah, Christmas would be probably Christmas time. Maybe if they do their coupon thing again where you get $10 off.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. That'd be a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
I was all bummed because they did that on Steam. They had like a similar like pay over $30, get like a certain amount off when they did the summer sale.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't realize it only worked once. And so I was trying to like bundle them up to package them a couple different times.
That's so
But
funny.
yeah, spent a little more than I meant to there because I thought I would get $10 off, but oh well.
Thought you could beat the system there, bucko.
Jordan, do you know what time it is?
It sounds like do I hear the sounds of answered questions ringing in my ears?
Does it sound like oh?
That's
No,
exactly
that's
what it
the
sounds like.
choir of angels. You're hearing the choir of angels.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I get them confused a lot.
You're about to be hearing the sound of answered questions in your ears because it is the questions part of the podcast. So you need to tell those angels to quiet down.
Okay.
We've got important work to do.
I'll let them know to keep their mouths shut. Their angelic mouths shut.
I really appreciate that. So as always, we're going to start our email section with our question section with the emails. Whoops. So we are getting these emails over at patientplayerspodcast@gmail.com. So if you have a question for us at any point, right now, some point this week, some point a year from now, go ahead and open up whatever email application of your choice and email patientplayerspodcast@gmail.com. Send us that email. We're going to answer it here on the podcast for you. Today we have one from longtime writer, dear fan, K. Little
sweet.
This week.
Wait, what?
Little cryptic, even more so than usual. Let's see.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
What K has to say for us. K says, "Dear friends, it is I, K, and today is my last day as a scientist. I'm hanging up my coat and donning a more appropriate garb. What is the garb I'll be donning? Well, you'll find out.
Okay.
Anyways, as for today's questions, think about your favorite game of all time, or just one of them if you have a hard time deciding.
Oh, geez.
With that game in mind, what one change would make that game even more perfect for you, and what change could completely ruin the game for you? Anyways, I'm going to be pretty busy for the next few weeks getting prepared for a major change. In the meantime, I'm going to try and organize some others to make emails in my place. See you again on episode 50," writes K.
Wow, so he's clocking out for the next at least 6 weeks.
Going on vacation, K. All right, well, thank you for your due diligence.
Va-K-tion. Got him.
I like that more than I should have. I'm kind of embarrassed.
Wow, one of the best games, because I can't think of the best. And what would make it, what was it, better and worse?
Even more perfect, and what other one change could completely ruin the game for you?
Oh, gosh. I was not prepared for this question.
Why don't I just pick a game for you?
That would work. I was thinking like either Minecraft or Terraria, but it
I was
probably
going to say Minecraft, so just go with Minecraft.
Okay, Minecraft. What would make Minecraft better? Are you kidding
Even
me?
better. Yeah.
Can I say if I just had more friends that played it? Please? I haven't had many of those recently, and it's made the game worse.
What if you could craft friends?
Do they what? Can they come into the real world and be real friends also?
There is a French anime about this called Code Lyoko.
I don't think I want to watch that. But on that note, what would make Minecraft worse is if it was only single player. So
wow.
Imagine a single player Minecraft where it's like a Nintendo made Minecraft in a world where they're like, oh, to play with your friends, you can't. That's too bad. But coming this fall, you'll be able to share a 20-digit friend code with them, which will be very laggy and not work.
Ouch.
And also, they're not actually a full person. They just control a sheep that follows you around and collects coins.
That's a very Nintendo solution to multiplayer.
Yep, there it is.
They're just like that little robot from Computer Craft that you can just like tell it to mine straight forward for a day and then like turn around and mine back.
Gosh.
Better yet, no, they have full control over the character, but you have to each share a hotbar. So whatever item you pull out, you're both using that item. You can't have two items at once.
You're both the same character, like Cho'Gall, where they can like you're mining and walking, but player number 2 can only look around and also mine, but as you're controlling them.
No. You can only mine. They can only place blocks.
Oh. Okay, what game do you have in mind?
Cho'Gall Minecraft. We've discovered a way to ruin Minecraft.
Oh gosh.
That has to be a mod somewhere. That was a mod for Overwatch. Remember that, where everyone shared a body?
No, I don't. Oh yes, yes.
And we made the super Roadhog with like 5,000 health that had every ability in the game.
That was incredible. The whole team on one person. So we had a Mercy who was like flying around and a Bastion in there, which is the highest DPS.
Just shooting out of the Mercy. Yeah. And you say that the custom games aren't fun. Come on, Jordan.
That was fun. Yeah. That was crazy.
Okay. Game that I love. I'm going to go with Smash Bros. Since I have a hard time deciding. Change that would make it just infinitely worse. I would say
if they add another Final Fantasy character. Sorry.
Do you mean Fire Emblem? You can't even get your joke. You can't even get your joke right.
What? There's not 15 Final Fantasy characters in that game too?
No, there's only one. It's just Cloud. It's because he was a DLC in a previous game.
One. All Weeaboo characters are the same to me. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. They all they're like the same. They're all.
This is on you, not on the people at large.
This is on me. What's your input?
I think that if it was changed to only be the time mode.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I feel like that would be a super easy way to ruin Smash Brothers, is just completely get rid of stock.
That's a real good one.
And to make it infinitely better, I mean it's kind of a cop-out answer. Fixing online is a cop-out answer, so I'm not gonna do that one. I would say it would be really, really cool if the amiibo figure fighters didn't require the amiibo. Like if that mode of like training an amiibo was just built into the game. Like if you could just like instead of like leveling up stuff. So remember in Brawl and Subspace Emissary, you could actually level up the individual characters and they would get like better stats. You could put stickers on the bottom of their little trophies.
Mm-hmm.
So what if they had that, but you couldn't like then go to a tournament and use it, right? But you were just training your guy exactly like an amiibo, but you didn't have to buy the little statue. You could just be like, oh, I want to train a new Mewtwo. Here's his name. Here's his color. We're going to go in and fight. And it was the exact same system, but without the requirement. I think that'd be really fun.
Nice.
Good question, Kay. Thank you. We are going to miss you. Enjoyed your vacation.
Yeah, thanks, Kay. We're looking forward to still having you as a guest star in episode 50 in 6 weeks. Wow.
Lord be willing.
Oh my gosh, Daniel, what's wrong with us?
What do you mean? What's wrong with us?
This is the last episode before our 1 year anniversary.
I know that.
How did we not lead with that?
I mentioned that at some point.
Not in this episode.
Okay, well.
That's crazy. I think this Saturday, I believe the 8th of August is the patient player's 1 year birthday. We are an infant. Did I already give my rant on if we were an infant, we'd be like, oh, they're 12 months old.
Yes,
okay,
yes, we've
good.
Heard the months rant.
Okay, our second writer, Miranda, writes us. Thanks for writing us again, Miranda. She says, hello, patient players. I have 2 questions again this week. Number 1, what is the fastest you've died in a game? And what is the latest you've stayed up playing a game?
Oh, boy. Those are some good ones. Do you have answers right away?
I did a thunk for the first one. For the fastest you've died. Probably the most accurate response I can think of is Super Meat Boy.
Right. Just seems like the obvious.
Yeah, I could just any level, but just more particularly
spawn, fall, die.
Exactly. Yeah, more specifically the levels where you have to beat to unlock. I think he's called the guy, the kid from I Want to Be the Guy.
Mm-hmm.
Whoo, those were a nightmare.
Yeah, where like just the instant death on the spikes touching it. Yeah, that game is very difficult.
Yeah, Super Meat Boy is a game where you'll die in like less than a second or 2 seconds while just running through the level, and then immediately puts you back at the beginning. So it's just doing it over and over and over again until you actually beat it. And at the end, you get to see all the deaths all played at once, and then the one little guy who made it to the very end. Each level takes like max like 10 to 15 seconds if you're fast and good at it.
Now I have to think, what's the fastest because the obvious answer is like the platformers, right? Because you just spawn die, right? And that's
right.
That's the easiest way to do it. But now I'm trying to think. I bet you I've died faster in Team Fortress 2.
Oh.
When some servers have a modification to the game where when you lose, normally when you lose in Team Fortress 2, your character loses their weapon and they just run around in something called humiliation,
Right.
where the enemy team gets to just shoot you and kill you for free. Well, some mods allow you to respawn still. And so usually you respawn directly next to a person who has just won holding a critical rocket launcher, and you just spawn and immediately explode.
That's a wonderful addition to the game.
Yeah, it makes you feel great for losing.
I like that.
What's the latest I've ever stayed up playing a game? I think I'm going to say that there are 3 instances. One of them was the first time I ever tried an all-nighter with some of my friends in middle school. And my friend, we were sleeping over at his house, and he had just got Spectrobes on the DS. Are you familiar with Spectrobes?
No, I'm not.
Spectrobes is Disney saying, you know what makes a lot of money? Pokemon makes a lot of money. And so Disney Game Studios made a game called Spectrobes, where there are 2 sides of the game. One is that you, on the DS bottom screen, you like archaeologically dig out gems and like fossils of these creatures called Spectrobes. And then that's how you acquire the Spectrobe, and then the gems are how you feed them to grow them. And then the second part of the game is battling, and so it will like spawn you into a 3D arena, and it's your character, and you get to bring in 2 Spectrobes to every fight, and they're on your left and your right, and you activate them with the L and the R button. So it's like I'm moving around and they're following me, and then my left guy is my Charizard equivalent, so he's gonna like breathe fire, and my right guy is like gonna be a lightning guy who's gonna like run forward at them with a lightning attack.
Interesting.
It was very fun as a kid. I loved the sequel. I own the sequel, and I love it a lot. I have not played it recently. It's probably bad. I'm just gonna say
okay, yeah.
A Disney developed Pokemon ripoff where you dig is probably not great, but I loved playing the digging, and me and my friend would swap off every like 30 minutes to an hour, and we would just all night we played Spectrobes. I played Spectrobes until I literally was like laying down backwards, and I was resting my head on just a wooden plank, not even like the flat side, like the pointy part of a wooden plank, and I rested my head and I just instantly fell asleep holding the DS. So that was my first attempt at a all-nighter.
Wow.
And then the second time I was worried, I was playing Super Smash Brothers Melee and sleeping over with a friend, and we were worried that my parents would wake up for the morning and realize we had never gone to bed. And so we turned everything off and went to sleep because the sun was coming up. Nowadays I have a water softener in my house, so like every weekend it has to do like a cleaning cycle to get rid of some of the junk.
Is this related to the stories still?
It is.
Okay, good. Just making sure.
Because to make sure that it doesn't run while I'm like actively using water, I have it set to run at 4 a.m. And so if I'm ever playing a game and all of a sudden I hear the whole house's water system just, I'm like, oh no, I have stayed up way too late.
4 is a good time. I have a similar system where the light in my room shuts off at 2 a.m. So like when it goes click and my room goes dark, I'm like, oh, I think I should go to bed now. But for me the latest I've stayed up, I think it was 7 a.m. and this is like, to this day I count this as like my first technical all-nighter. It was the night I found you could mod Minecraft and you could download the mods as a full pack, and I downloaded one called Tekkit, which that game was already great, but I've mentioned this before too, just like booting it up in a mod pack and just hearing the birds chirp in the background of Minecraft. Oh, it gave me chills. I stayed up the entire night also texting a friend. All your stories are like, I was with my buddies, and here I'm like, I play Minecraft by myself. But I was at least texting someone who, she also stayed up the entire night because I think she had like a crush on me at the time. So little did she know I was just playing Minecraft the whole time.
Casually, like you would have been asleep ages ago. You couldn't, like, her texts were an interruption to your Minecraft at that moment.
Yeah, I know. The whole time I was like, oh no, I wonder if she thinks I'm staying up just to talk to her when I'm just having a blast.
Let me clarify. I don't like you this much. I just am playing Minecraft.
Oh man, yeah. And when I looked at the clock, I think the time that I officially went to bed, quote unquote, was 7 a.m. and I like looked out the window and I was like, oh, it's the sunshine and I didn't sleep. Oh no. I still need to get my sleep. So I went to bed at 7 and I slept till like noon or something.
Oh man, those nights were the worst when you woke up the next day as a kid.
Yeah.
I had a lot of late Skyrim nights.
Good times.
Good question. Thank you very much for that, Miranda. And that is going to be it for our emails, which gives us to the final section of questions, which we're getting out of the Patient Players Podcast official Discord. If you want to submit questions throughout the week on the Discord, or just join us as we hang out and play HOTS or play these other games, hang out in our conversations in the evenings, you can head over to patientplayers.com/Discord. And that is going to bring you to the Discord server where you'll be able to get set up with a name and everything. In the meantime, we have a couple questions out of the Discord that we've selected for this week's podcast. Do you want to hit me with one of those, Jordan?
I do, Daniel. And in fact, if you could tell me, why did you start Patient Players?
Why did we start Patient Players?
No, not honestly, we. Why did you?
Why did I start Patient Players? I started Patient Players because I listen to a lot of podcasts and I talk a lot, and that seemed like a good thing to do. And it seemed fun, honestly. That's why we started it. And I can only speak for myself, but that's the only reason I'm still doing it, is because it's fun. I like hanging out with you, Jordan.
It is fun.
Creating memories and letting people share in them.
What I wrote down is it's fun, yeah, but it's also fun to make something, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like a podcast baby. And that's other than the 12-month rant, or the rant that I hate with a fire passion. Just, you know, like just having something out in the world, even if no one likes it or cares about it, just looking at it and be like, oh, I made this. It's like a child, except you don't have to feed it and it doesn't like wake you up at 4:00 in the morning.
Is this also not feeding the podcast right now? Is that not what we're doing?
That's fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. But the podcast again doesn't wake us up at 4:00 in the morning, and or it doesn't
keep us up till 4 o'clock in the morning.
I was going to say it also doesn't die if you stop feeding it, but if feeding it is doing this right now, then I guess that's also true. That's true. It would die if we stopped feeding it.
We're responsible podcast parents.
Yeah, little podcast baby. You know,
little Patient Players and its two dads.
Make a thing, guys. If you haven't made a thing that's like a thing because you made it, it's a unique feeling. Like, other people don't need to like it. I made a YouTube channel and I ran it for a year. You've heard me talk about it so many times. But just making a thing and going back and looking at it, being like, oh yeah, I made this thing. Well, help from your friends, my friends in that case. But yeah, just making a thing is fun.
Yeah, that's why, like, I'm so proud of our theme. It's awesome. Like, I love our theme, and the fact that it's not just like something that we pulled from someone else or something that other people are running out there using themselves. Like, it's ours. It's our little baby podcast's first words, basically.
What a great question. Oh yeah, we've gotten a new theme song and everything. What a great question to ask on the episode before our 1-year anniversary. What's another question we were asked, Mr. Daniel?
Well, we got a surprise submission here, like I said, about the a story that wife of the podcast, Marion, would like to tell about the free Epic game this week, Sword and Sorcery, which says, not exactly a question, but I thought I would put my story of Sword and Sorcery here. It was one of the first games I played all the way through, and ooh boy, what a game. It is so bizarre. Lots of very strange humor and random things. It was one of the very first games where I experienced my choices actually affecting the story. There was a moment where I accidentally killed a character I didn't intend to, and there were people through the entire rest of the game who wouldn't talk to me because of what I had done. It was such an awesome experience.
Wow.
I freaked the heck out, and I tried to go back, but it was too late. RIP that guy. There was also a real-time component that seemed like it was going to be impossible to finish the game in a timely manner. If you download it, pro tip, you do not have to wait 6 months in order to actually finish the game, which I literally only found out on complete accident, and I was fully prepared to just set a reminder on my phone and go back to it half a year later. But yes, it's a great game. I highly recommend it, especially since it's free.
6 months? I remember I tried playing that game. It was too weird for me to beat it back in the day. I couldn't do it. I had no idea what was going on.
I don't remember. I would love to hear this while we're still doing the recording, Marion, if you're on the live chat, but I don't remember how you got that game, because I do remember at the very beginning when you first started playing games, like your only experience had been with some of the family games you had on the Wii and like some DS games. And then we started hanging out and I introduced you to Portal and I created a Steam account for you. And we like started playing games together, like Magica and stuff like that. And I remember you playing that game. And I think it was the first game you played that I had never played. And okay, so in the chat, Marion is saying that she saw it for like $1 and it just seemed interesting.
Maybe it was in a Humble Bundle.
It was definitely in a Humble Bundle. Did you ever purchase a Humble Bundle?
Because I also owned it for some reason, and this is not a game I would go out of my way to purchase because I didn't know anything about it. So
it was in like one of the first 3 Humble Bundles. It was very early on in the Humble Bundle history.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that's where she probably got it. She said that I purchased a couple Humble Bundles for her. Okay, that makes more sense now.
Nice.
So we all own it somewhere, and now if you don't, you own it on Epic Games. But I guess try it out if you're interested in some wackiness. If I can only speak for myself, but I think that I don't have much more to say on any of these topics. What do you think, Jordan?
Well, I thought we had questions left. I'm waiting for you to read me the next question.
I will read you this next question.
With bated breath. If I was a fish right now, I don't know where I was going with this.
How can you talk if you have bated breath?
Maybe the baited part is where I was going with this. If I was a fish right now, I'm like the fish that just launched down on the hook and it's like, oh, I messed up, you know?
Because you've been hooked into this question.
Yeah, and now my breath is also baited.
All right. If you couldn't play video games, what hobby or other activity would you replace it with?
That's a good question. I've always wanted to learn an instrument, such as piano or drums or something creative that makes something. I know I just talk so much about making stuff, but like I think it would be so cool to learn how to like write music. And that's coming from a point of me saying right now that I have no idea how to read music. I look at a sheet of music and I'm like, how on earth can people read this? Read like, do their eyes like turn into chameleons and then like look at the top line and the bottom line and your hands do the left part and the right part? That blows my mind. So like, yeah,
that's
like I think it'd be really cool to get like a nice piano or a nice drum set and just learn how to make some sick beats, if you will.
It is certainly fun. It just takes a lot of time.
Exactly.
Yes. If I was not doing as many video games, or if I couldn't, I would probably replace it with some sort of computer project. I've had brief stints into things like web development, learning. Like I haven't actually done any development myself. Most of my computer science experience at my workplace and with my school is in like data and doing some basic scripting and things like that. But there are bigger projects you can be a part of that's more than just like, oh, I'm going to make this thing for myself, right? But there's bigger like code repositories where people collaborate together and they make stuff. And so like, it's always seemed weird to me that there's so many like code libraries and projects that I just can go and download, and like people have spent hours working on them. I'm like, this thing just works and it's great. And I'm glad that they made it and they made it available to me for free. The idea of someone who actually like has the time to just sit down and be like, you know what I'm going to do today? I'm going to improve this Python library on like data manipulation. And that's just what I'm going to do in my spare time. Or like open source projects, like Linux is open source. And like the idea that there are people who just like, I'm going to write an operating system today.
Yeah. What's your hobby? Oh, you know, operating systems.
Yeah, that's the kind of person you turn into when you lose a hobby like video games, and you're just like, all right, I got time to make an operating system today.
Yeah. Wow.
What a good question.
So our last question of the night asks, how do you feel video games have changed your lives?
Wow, ending on a light note.
Deep philosophical question here.
Yeah, nothing but fluffy, easy questions from our podcast audience.
How do I feel they've changed my life? Well, you know, I wouldn't say changed my life, but I would say made it unique in a way that, you know, I talk to a lot of friends and they're like, oh, I'm watching this TV show or these movies, or reading these like great fictional books. And I know like you in particular, like you also read like a lot of fiction books, and you've watched a lot of TV shows. But like for me, like I don't know, like the games kind of have been like my go-to. I don't watch like any TV at all. Like I rarely watch a TV show. I'll rarely read like a book series. Even so, I guess even in my case, I've seen plenty of TV series and read plenty of fiction series. But yeah, it's made it unique in that it's my it's my go-to entertainment thing, and thus makes me miss out on a lot of TV shows that a lot of people recommend and whatnot. Like, oh, have you seen this and this? And I'm like, I have never heard of that in my life.
Nor do I plan to.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's such a hard question, because to talk about something changing your life, it's like this is what's going on in my life, and then like an event occurs and now my life is different. And that's definitely not what gaming has been on my side. In terms of like how has it changed the course of your life? I mean, so I think that it probably is more than I realized, just because that's a lot of how I've socialized with my friends like you, Jordan, and with like my wife, Marion, when we were dating. She was not like a super far distance from me, but she was always at least like a 45-minute drive away, if not for like an hour and a half for a lot of our dating relationships. So like that's how we spent time together a lot of the time. And that's how I've met a lot of people. And then I've done a lot of stuff outside of gaming, so it's not like that is my life or anything. But I think that because even when I was younger, I enjoyed playing games with my family and friends and just by myself, that it helped me. I think it's helped me hone a lot of skills. It's helped me hone things like logical thinking and problem solving, which plays a big part in what I do day to day with my computer work. Because
that's interesting. Yeah,
I distinctly remember being bored and sitting at my grandmother's house, and she didn't have like a game console or anything, and I had just a computer with internet access, and I was learning about the Pokemon glitches, like missing no, right? With like the item duplication glitch. And I remember reading a Wikipedia article, and it was walking through why that glitch worked. And it was walking through,
oh, that's cool.
It was walking through like computers have memory addresses that have values, and the value that tells you what Pokemon you find in this section has a glitch where it is empty. And so it just, whatever was there before is what's there now. So if you were in the Safari Zone, you can catch Safari Zone Pokemon there. If you were somewhere else, you can catch other things there. Like, that's cool. And the reason that missing no works is because when you do this one specific thing with the tutorial, it puts a bunch of garbage values in there. And so it loads a Pokemon, which messes up memory all over the game. And this one particular memory address gets modified. And that's the quantity of items you have in your 6th slot. That's the item duplication glitch. I remember reading all of that and being like, this is so cool. And that, like, ever since then, like I've been interested in computer stuff. So when I had a chance to do my first programming class in high school, I was really excited to do that. And then ever since then, like, learning more about computers and programming has now come full circle and applied back to gaming, because now I'll be gaming and I like will know how stuff works a lot because I know about memory addresses and stuff like that. So that's been really, really cool. And that way it's changed my life. And then I think there's a lot of interesting research studies I have read about spatial awareness and playing action games, like all the Team Fortress and Overwatch that I've played, all of the 3D games.
Like real world spatial awareness?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it makes you more aware. Like, walking in a room, you're able to see the flow of a crowd and move through them easier. You're able to identify where you are easier. My wife always jokes that I'm like super good at knowing where I am on a map, because I blame World of Warcraft, because I got lost in World of Warcraft.
Like a GPS, like on your phone map?
Yeah, like paper map, GPS on my phone. Like, I can be like, okay, so that's north, so we should go over there. And like,
I see.
I'm super good at using maps and knowing directions. And like, I learned all that sitting on a couch playing World of Warcraft on my laptop. So there's a lot of interesting life skills I think I've picked up just from playing games.
That's cool. I like your answer better. Yeah, you get my vote.
Okay. Good.
Daniel 2020.
I win the competition.
Yep. Yep, that's it.
I was worried until the last second. Those final points, though, really matter, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, if I had a little scoreboard, I would at least hold up a 7.5. At least.
Next time, I'll beat my record.
Yep. But
Well,
I think that's all the time we have for today.
I think so too. Thank you for joining us on this fine podcast stream and on the podcast recording. We do hope that if you like what you're hearing, keep in mind we have a very small audience right now, and we would love it if you knew someone that liked video games the way that we do and you told them about the podcast. You can find all sorts of stuff to share about the podcast through patientplayers.com/social, and join us in future episodes. Join us on the Discord, hang out with us. And just remember, we love you.
And we also would love it if you rang that bell icon to be.
Gosh.
No, I knew I could get you with that.
What's it with you and the bell? You love that bell.
I hate the bell. That's why I bring it up so much, because it's in every single stupid video on YouTube.
You are becoming the problem that you hate.
Ring the bell. You know what? Maybe that's my coping method.
We are on YouTube. You don't have to say the bell thing.
Maybe it's just my coping method. Just ring the bell icon. It's not even an icon. It's a button. It's a bell. Okay, thanks for joining us. Tune in next week for episode 45. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.